Why are you really here right now? What invisible force pulled you away from everything else, demanding your attention to land on this exact message at this exact moment? And if heaven itself orchestrated your arrival here, what is God trying to tell you that He couldn't reach you with anywhere else, chosen one? Let me tell you something that will shake the foundation of everything you thought you understood about divine timing. You didn't find this message. This message found you. Right now, in this very second, the throne room of heaven has interrupted your regularly scheduled life because God Himself is saying something urgent, something intimate, something that cannot wait one more minute. I need a moment with you right now. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't an algorithm. This isn't luck. This is divine orchestration. The same God who numbered every hair on your head, who knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb, has been tracking your steps, watching your struggles, hearing your silent cries. And He has strategically positioned you here because what He's about to reveal will rewrite the next chapter of your life. You've been moving, planning, doing checking boxes, fulfilling obligations. But heaven has been whispering through every delay, through every closed door, through every silent night, when you wondered if anyone was listening. That restlessness gnawing at your spirit, that's not anxiety. That's His call. That emptiness you can't quite explain. That's not punishment. That's an invitation. God is saying, stop everything. I don't need your work. I don't need your words. I need you. This is the kind of moment that separates before from after. Because when God says, I need a moment, He's not coming to condemn you. He's coming to cleanse you. He's not coming to scold you. He's coming to shape you. He's not asking for perfection. He's asking for presence. There are secrets He only shares in stillness, revelations He cannot download in noise. And right now, heaven is leaning in, waiting for you to whisper, Lord, I'm here. Before we go one word further, if your spirit is stirring right now, if something inside you is saying, yes, this is for me, I need you to act on it. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. Hit that like button as an act of faith, as a way of telling heaven, I'm paying attention. Subscribe to this channel because God is speaking directly into your life through these messages, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Drop your city or country in the comments below, so this global remnant can stand together in unity and faith. And to every single one of you who has supported this message through Super, thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're sowing seeds into the soil of someone else's breakthrough. You're helping spread light to souls who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm grateful for your presence here, your attention, your hunger for truth. It all matters to God, and it matters to this mission. Now don't you dare scroll away. Stay right here, because in the next few moments, we're going deeper into what happens when God interrupts your life to say, I need a moment with you. If you can stay still long enough to hear His heartbeat, you'll discover this isn't a disruption. This is destiny calling. Have you noticed the restlessness lately? That feeling that won't let you sleep peacefully? That strange disquiet that makes everything familiar feel somehow hollow? What if I told you that the very thing you've been trying to escape is actually God's loudest invitation to you? Chosen one, listen to me carefully. That stirring in your soul, that emptiness you can't quite name, that sense that something is shifting beneath the surface of your everyday life, none of it is random. It's not depression. It's not just stress. It's not aging or loneliness or the weight of years catching up with you. It's the voice of heaven, piercing through the static of your routine, saying, I need you to stop. I need you to be still. Because what I'm about to show you cannot be revealed in the noise. You've been moving, haven't you? Planning, organizing, serving, doing checking off lists, fulfilling obligations. You've given so much of yourself to everyone around you that you forgot the most sacred thing God ever asked of you, simply to be with Him. Not to work for Him, not to prove anything to Him, just to be. Psalm 46:10 declares, "Be still and know that I am God." That word, be still, in Hebrew is Rapha. It means to cease striving to let go, to release your grip on control. God is saying, stop trying to do my job. Stop trying to manage what only I can orchestrate. Let me carry this. Think about Elijah, this mighty prophet who called down fire from heaven, who confronted kings and defeated false prophets, found himself running for his life, exhausted, broken, hiding in a cave. And what did God do? Did He scold him for his weakness? Did He command him to get back to work? No. God came to him in that cave, and here's what happened. Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. Do you hear what heaven is teaching us? God wasn't in the spectacular. He wasn't in the loud, the dramatic, the obvious. He was in the whisper. But here's the question that should shake you to your core. If God speaks in whispers, how many of His words have you missed because your life was too loud to hear them? How many divine instructions have gone unheard because you were too busy, too distracted, too caught up in the roar of responsibility? God doesn't compete with chaos. He calls you out of it. He doesn't shout over your noise. He waits for you to quiet down enough to recognize His voice. Right now, in this moment, God is saying to you what He said to Elijah in that cave. What are you doing here? Why are you still running? Why are you still striving? I brought you to this stillness, not to punish you, but to protect you. I isolated you, not because I forgot about you, but because I needed your undivided attention. Every person you thought abandoned you, every door you thought closed too soon, every plan that unraveled when you were certain it was God's will, all of it was divine redirection. God was removing the noise so you could finally hear the voice. Moses encountered God in a burning bush. But first, he had to turn aside from his daily routine as a shepherd. He had to notice. He had to pause. Exodus 3:3 says, "So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight." That decision to turn aside, to stop, to investigate what God was doing, that's what changed everything. Jesus himself, the Son of God, regularly withdrew to lonely places to pray. Luke 5:16 tells us, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." If Jesus, who was God in flesh, needed moments of stillness with the Father, how much more do we? Silence is not God's absence. It's his invitation. When he calls you away from the crowd, he's not ignoring you. He's isolating you so you can hear what the noise drowned out. This wilderness season you're in, this is heaven's classroom. This is where your heart learns dependence, where your faith learns depth, where your identity learns truth. Hosea 2:14 says, "Therefore, I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her." God allures you into the wilderness not to harm you, but to heal you. Not to abandon you, but to have you all to himself. So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly in the privacy of your own heart. When was the last time you sat in complete silence before God with no agenda, no prayer list, no demands, just you and him? When was the last time you let him speak without you filling the space with words? Because what God is preparing you for in this next season of your life cannot be built on confusion. It requires clarity. And clarity doesn't come from activity. It comes from communion. This moment right now, this divine appointment you're in, this isn't disruption. This is preparation. God is grounding you so the next season of glory won't shake you. He's deepening your roots so the coming harvest won't topple you. The stillness isn't weakness, it's warfare. It's you refusing to let the enemy distract you with busyness when God is calling you into the secret place where kingdoms are built and destinies are forged. Why have the last few months felt like you're walking through thick fog where nothing makes sense anymore? Why does it seem like every door you approach slams shut in your face just when you're about to step through? And what if everything you've labeled as delayed disappointment and divine silence is actually God's most intentional work in your life? Chosen one, I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. What looks like God backing away is actually God leaning in closer than he's ever been. The isolation you've felt, the closed doors, the relationships that dissolved, the plans that crumbled, the dreams that seemed to die right in your hands, none of it was random. None of it was punishment. All of it was preparation for what you've been praying for, without even knowing the fullness of what you were asking. You've been wondering, haven't you? Late at night when everyone else is asleep, you've whispered to God, "Why me? Why now? Why this? What did I do wrong?" You've looked at others who seem to glide through life effortlessly, while you've been wrestling with God like Jacob at the river, limping through seasons that feel like they'll never end. And maybe you've even started to believe the lie that God has forgotten you, that you missed your window, that your best years are behind you. and all that's left is waiting for the end. But that's not truth. That's the enemy's voice trying to convince you to quit right before the breakthrough. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." But notice what God says, "I know the plans," not "I knew," not past tense, present tense. Right now, in this moment, while you're feeling forgotten, while you're feeling sidelined, while you're feeling like everything is falling apart, God is actively working His plan. Your perception of delay is actually divine positioning. What you call waiting, heaven calls preparation. What you call setback, God calls setup. Think about Joseph, 17 years old, favored by his father, given a coat of many colors and dreams of greatness. Then betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in prison for years. 17 years old when the dream came. 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. 13 years of what looked like complete destruction of everything God promised. But Genesis 50:20 reveals the secret. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Every closed door, every betrayal, every prison cell was God positioning Joseph for a palace. The pit wasn't the end. It was the beginning. And here's what you need to understand. God doesn't waste your pain. He doesn't throw away your tears. Every moment you thought you were losing, you were actually gaining something you couldn't see. Every season you thought was destroying you was actually developing you. The wilderness wasn't meant to kill you. It was meant to kill what was killing you. The pride, the self-reliance, the need for human approval, the addiction to control. God had to strip you down to build you up. He had to empty you to fill you. He had to break you to remake you. Remember the story of the prodigal son in Luke 15. This young man demanded his inheritance early, took everything his father gave him, and squandered it in wild living until he had nothing left. Broke desperate feeding pigs, and so hungry he wanted to eat their food, he finally came to his senses. And here's the powerful part. Verse 18 says, "I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you.'" He rehearsed an apology. He expected punishment. He was ready to beg for a servant position just to survive. You think your mess disqualifies you, but God says your mess is exactly why you need Him. You think your age is a disadvantage, but God says He's been preparing you for decades for such a time as this. You think your past is too stained, but God says He specializes in making all things new. 2 Corinthians 5:17 promises, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." Not might come, has come. Present tense. Available now for you today. The discomfort you're feeling isn't God rejecting you. It's God refining you. James 1:2-4 instructs, Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. That word complete in Greek is teleios. It means brought to its end, finished, wanting nothing necessary for completeness. God is completing you. The pressure isn't to crush you, it's to shape you. Diamonds form under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. And you chosen one are being prepared for a level of glory that requires this level of refining. Every delay has been divine protection, keeping you from arriving at a destination before you were ready to sustain it. Every no has been redirection, guiding you away from what would have destroyed you toward what will establish you. Every loss has been subtraction, making room for multiplication. You've been praying for promotion, but God has been answering with preparation, because He knows that what He's about to release in your life will crush you. If your foundation isn't strong enough to hold it, He's not withholding. He's strengthening you to receive without breaking. Moses spent 40 years in Pharaoh's palace, learning leadership, and 40 years in the desert, learning humility, before God sent him to deliver a nation. David was anointed king as a teenager, but didn't wear the crown until he was 30, spending years running from Saul, hiding in caves, learning to trust God, when everything visible said God had abandoned him. Jesus himself spent 30 years in obscurity before 3 years of ministry. God's timeline doesn't match yours, but His timing is always perfect. What He's building in you during this season of hiddenness will sustain you through the coming season of visibility. The shaking you've experienced in your finances, your health, your relationships, your confidence, that's not destruction, that's construction. Hebrews 12:27 explains the words once more indicate the removing of what can be shaken, that is created things, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. God is removing what was never meant to stay, so what He ordained can finally manifest. He's shaking off counterfeit relationships to make room for divine connections. He's closing doors of convenience to open doors of destiny. He's removing comfort to create hunger. Because comfortable people don't seek God desperately. Desperate people do. And maybe that's exactly where you are right now. Desperate. Stripped of all the things you used to rely on. Forced to admit that you can't figure this out on your own, you can't fix this yourself. You can't control the outcome. And that desperation isn't weakness, it's positioning. Because God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. When you finally come to the end of yourself, that's where you find the beginning of Him. So let me speak prophetically over your life right now. What you're walking through is not punishment, it's preparation. The waiting is not wasted, it's working. The delay is not denial, it's divine timing. And the God who started this good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Philippians 1:6 promises it. Your story isn't over. Your purpose isn't canceled. Your best days aren't behind you. What's coming is so much greater than what you've lost, that when you look back, you'll understand why every door had to close, why every person had to leave, why every plan had to fail. Because God was protecting something too precious to risk your destiny. If you're ready to step into everything God has been preparing you for, if you're ready to stop resisting His process and start trusting His plan, drop a 777 in the comments right now. That number represents divine perfection, completion, and alignment. Let it be your declaration to heaven. I'm ready. I trust you. I surrender. Complete what you started in me. Can you feel it? That tension between where you are and where you thought you'd be by now. That gap between the promise God whispered to your heart years ago and the reality you're living today. What if I told you that the very delay you've been resenting is actually the divine strategy that's going to make your testimony undeniable? Chosen one, and I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. God's delays are not His denials. Your season of waiting is not wasted time. It's sacred preparation. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every dream that seemed to die in the dark, none of it was God forgetting about you. It was God protecting what He promised you until you were ready to steward it. Because here's what most people never understand. The blessing you've been crying out for requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet in the waiting season. That's where God is building that person. You've been looking at your calendar, counting the years, measuring your progress against everyone else's timeline, and the enemy has been whispering, "It's too late. You missed your window." God moved on to someone younger, someone stronger, someone who didn't make the mistakes you made, but that's a lie straight from the pit of hell. Ecclesiastes 3:1 declares, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." God doesn't operate on your clock. He operates on kingdom timing. And kingdom timing is always perfect, even when it feels painfully slow to your human heart. Think about Joseph, 17 years old, favored by his father, dreaming dreams of greatness, seeing visions of his entire family bowing before him. Then everything collapsed. His brothers threw him in a pit, sold him into slavery. He ended up in Egypt, far from home, separated from everything familiar, working in Potiphar's house. And just when things started improving, he was falsely accused, thrown into prison, forgotten by the very people he helped. 13 years passed between the dream and the fulfillment. 13 years of pits and prisons and betrayal and waiting. But here's what most people miss about Joseph's story. Those 13 years weren't punishment. They were preparation. In the pit, God taught him humility. In Potiphar's house, God taught him administration. In prison, God taught him how to interpret the very thing that would save nations' dreams. Every season that looked like setback was actually setup. Every delay was divine design. And when Pharaoh finally called him out of that prison, Joseph didn't just step into a job. He stepped into a purpose so massive that it saved entire civilizations from famine. Genesis 41:40 records Pharaoh saying, "You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders." Do you understand what that means for you right now? The waiting you've endured, the delays that have frustrated you, the doors that closed in your face. They weren't God's rejection. They were His protection. He was keeping you from stepping into a position you weren't ready to sustain. He was shielding you from a level of exposure that would have crushed you before you had the strength to carry it. He was developing in you the character, the wisdom, the faith, the resilience that the next season absolutely requires. You couldn't have handled then what's coming now. But you're ready now because of what you went through then. The waiting season is where God does His deepest work. It's where He strips away the false identities you were clinging to. It's where He breaks your dependence on human approval and teaches you to find your validation in Him alone. It's where He prunes away the relationships, the habits, the mindsets that would have sabotaged your destiny. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." That renewal doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the waiting room. Abraham waited 25 years for Isaac. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before his burning bush encounter. David was anointed king as a teenager, but didn't sit on the throne until he was 30. Hannah wept for years before Samuel was born. The pattern is clear. Every divine promise comes with a preparation period, and what you do in the waiting determines what you become in the receiving. Your faithfulness when nobody's watching is building your authority for when everybody's watching. Your worship in the wilderness is preparing you for your witness in the promised land. Your obedience in obscurity is qualifying you for your assignment in the open. Right now, God is saying to you, what you're going through is not random chaos. It's intentional cultivation. I'm not withholding from you. I'm working within you. Every season of silence has been strategically designed to develop something in you that could not be developed any other way. Your character is being forged. Your faith is being refined. Your vision is being clarified. And when the appointed time comes, and it is coming, you will step into your purpose with such unshakable confidence that hell itself won't be able to stop you. This is your moment of realignment, chosen one. Not alignment with the world's timeline, but alignment with God's perfect timing. Habakkuk 2:3 says, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." God is never early, never late, always exactly on time. And this moment right here, this season you're in right now, this is the sacred space where your breakthrough begins. Not when circumstances change. Not when other people finally recognize your worth. Not when the money comes, or the door opens, or the healing manifests. The breakthrough begins the moment you stop fighting God's timing and start trusting it. Can you do that? Can you release your grip on how you thought it should happen and surrender to how God is orchestrating it? Can you stop measuring your progress by human standards and start trusting divine strategy? Because the moment you do, peace floods in. The moment you stop striving and start resting in His plan, the anxiety lifts. The moment you embrace the waiting as preparation instead of punishment, you stop feeling like you're falling behind and you start realizing you're right on schedule. Joseph could have spent those 13 years bitter, angry, blaming God. Instead, he remained faithful. He served with excellence wherever he was. He kept his character intact. He maintained his integrity even when nobody was looking. And when his moment came, he was ready. Not just ready to receive blessing, but ready to steward it. Not just ready to lead, but ready to lead with wisdom, compassion, and the fear of God. That's what the waiting produced in him, and that's what it's producing in you right now. So let me tell you what's about to happen. The doors that have been locked are about to swing open. The promises that seemed dead are about to resurrect. The dreams you buried are about to break through the soil. Not because you figured out the formula or manipulated the outcome, but because God's appointed time has arrived and you stayed faithful while you waited. Your latter days will be greater than your former days. Your comeback will be more powerful than your setback. And everyone who counted you out will see that the hand of God was on you all along. This waiting season has been the womb where your destiny was gestating. And chosen one, you're about to give birth. If you feel God calling you to realign with His timing right now, if something in your spirit is saying, "Yes, I trust you, even when I don't understand," hit that like button as an act of faith. Share this message because someone in your circle needs to hear that their waiting isn't wasted. And drop a 777 in the comments to signal your alignment with God's perfect timing. Because heaven is watching, and your obedience in this moment is unlocking what's been waiting for you in the next. Chosen one, you've spent time in the stillness. You've embraced the quiet. You've listened to God's whisper and felt His presence. And now it's time to move. The waiting season is over. The alignment has taken place. God's voice has prepared you for what's next, and now you are stepping into your purpose. Do you feel it? That stirring in your spirit, that restlessness isn't there to confuse you anymore. It's there to propel you forward. God has been laying the groundwork in your life through the waiting, through the stillness, through the challenges. And now you are ready to take action. The time for movement is here. God is calling you to step into the future He has already prepared for you. You were not created to live in frustration or uncertainty. You were created for this moment. This is your time to rise, to act, to move boldly into the destiny God has been shaping for you. Just like Esther. Think about her story. A young woman, once living in a foreign land, suddenly called to the palace. She didn't know her purpose at first, but God was positioning her for greatness. For such a time as this, God raised her up to save a nation. You chosen one were created for such a time as this. The story of Esther is your story. You may have felt overlooked. You may have felt out of place, like you didn't belong. But just like Esther, God is positioning you in the right place at the right time. Everything you've been through, every struggle, every season of waiting has been God's way of preparing you to step into your calling. Your life is about to shift. What seemed impossible is about to become reality. God has been preparing you for this moment, a moment where everything you've learned, everything you've gone through, will come together in a powerful way. Do you feel the weight of it? Your destiny is calling you. You are chosen for greatness. This is not a coincidence. This is not an accident. God's plan for your life has been unfolding for years, and now is the time for you to walk into it. You are chosen for greatness. And now it's time to walk in it. God has already prepared the path for you. All that is left is for you to step into it with faith, courage, and trust in His perfect plan. Let's go further together. This is just the beginning. Drop 797 in the comments to declare that you are ready to step into your purpose. Let the world know that you are no longer waiting. You are moving forward. You are walking in alignment with God's plan for your life. The time is now. Step forward. The doors are open. The path is clear. And God is right there with you every step of the way. Chosen one, can you feel it? That sense of excitement that's stirring in your heart. Do you sense the shift happening in your life right now? You've waited, you've prayed, you've trusted, and now the moment you've been waiting for is here. God is pouring out His blessings, and they are not just for you, but for the world. These blessings aren't small or insignificant. They are overflowing, abundant, and more than you could ever imagine. Your faithfulness and alignment with His timing have set the stage for a divine outpouring. This is your season of overflow. The time for waiting is over. The time for walking in the fullness of God's promises has arrived. The blessings that have been held in the heavens for you, for your family, for your community, are being released right now. You've been prepared for this. Think of the image of a river, rivers of living water flowing freely and abundantly. That is what God's blessings are like for you. It's not a trickle. It's not just enough to get by. It's more than enough. It's the kind of overflow that saturates your life in every way, spiritually, emotionally, financially, and relationally. God's provision is never just about meeting your needs. It's about exceeding your expectations. It's about filling your cup to the point that it's spilling over, not just for you to enjoy, but for everyone around you. Your life will become a source of blessing to others. Malachi 3:10 tells us, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Chosen one, God is saying to you right now, I will open the floodgates of heaven and pour out blessings so great you won't have room to store them. Can you imagine that the blessings God has for you are not just small gifts, not just little rewards for your hard work? They are overflowing. They are abundant. God's timing is perfect. It has always been perfect, and it is perfect now. Everything you've experienced up until this point, every season of hardship, every time you felt like you were lacking, every moment of waiting was part of God's plan to prepare you for this very moment. This is your season, chosen one, your season of abundance. your season of overflowing blessings. The floodgates are open. Now claim it. If you believe that this is your season of overflow, that you are stepping into God's promises, I want you to drop a 777 in the comments. This is your declaration that you are ready to receive His blessings, to walk in His purpose, and to share those blessings with the world. Father, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude and awe. We thank you for this divine moment, this sacred time where we have heard your call. We thank you for choosing us, for calling us into your purpose, for speaking into our lives in ways we couldn't have imagined. You have been with us through every season, the waiting, the struggles, the challenges, and now we stand here ready to receive what you have prepared for us. Lord, we lay down our anxieties, our fears, and all the burdens we've been carrying. We trust in your plan, even when we don't fully understand it. We trust in your timing, knowing that it is perfect, even when it feels delayed in our eyes. We are here, Lord, not with our plans, but with open hearts. We surrender our lives to you, knowing that in surrender, we find our strength. We receive your blessings with humility and gratitude, understanding that it is through you that all things are made possible. We stand together in unity, knowing that we are not walking this journey alone. As we walk forward, let us stand firm in faith. Let your will be done in our lives as we continue to trust and obey. We know that what is ahead is greater than what is behind, and that you are guiding every step of the way. We claim your promises, Lord, and we walk in your divine purpose for our lives. In this moment of surrender, we feel your peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. It is the peace that comes from knowing that we are not in control, but you are. It is the peace that comes from knowing that your timing is perfect and that you are working all things together for our good. It is the peace that fills our hearts with confidence and purpose. Now, as we close, I invite you to make a commitment. If you feel God's call in your life today, if you are ready to surrender your plans and receive His blessings, I encourage you to act on it. Hit like, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, and drop 777 in the comments to declare that you are ready to step into the life God has prepared for you. This is your moment, chosen one, your moment of surrender, your moment of faith, your moment of realignment with God's perfect plan. Let the world know that you are walking in purpose, that you are ready to receive the blessings God is pouring out, and that you are walking in the divine destiny He has called you to.